Welcome to The Explainer. So, buying a house, man, it is an incredibly high stakes, highly emotional journey that pretty much all of us are going to face at some point in our lives. You save up for years, you absolutely obsess over listings, and then you just throw yourself into one of the most chaotic markets on earth. But today, we're going to break down exactly how you can escape what we call the property trap using a purely logical, step by step approach. Let me ask you something that might sound a little, well, extreme. Is moving actually harder than marriage? If you've ever bought a house, your pulse probably just jumped a little bit right there. It's a profoundly anxious, volatile process. You know the drill: the sleepless nights, the endless paperwork, that looming fear that the seller might just pull out at the last second. But hey, if you're dreading it, or if you're right in the middle of it right now and feeling totally overwhelmed, recent survey data from Yopa proves your feelings are completely valid. Okay, let's dive into the data because these statistics here are truly staggering. When Yopa surveyed people on the absolute most stressful life events, 40% of respondents said moving came out on top. That literally beats out getting divorced at 34% and even having a baby at 31%. I mean, no way, right? Let that sink in. Moving your belongings from one building to another is officially considered more emotionally taxing than some of the absolute biggest milestones and upheavals in human life. And the fallout from all that intense stress? It's massive. A staggering 60% of people find the entire process so daunting, so utterly overwhelming, that the sheer thought of it just puts them off the idea of moving entirely. They literally become paralyzed. They would honestly rather stay stuck in a home that doesn't fit their needs, maybe they've totally outgrown it, or maybe the commute is terrible, than face the anxiety of the property market ever again. It's a massive mental block for sure. So let's get into Section 1, the psychology of buying. Why are we stressed out? It really all comes down to the big villain of this explainer: emotion-led purchasing. This is when you're making a massive financial decision based entirely on your feelings, like how a house makes your heart flutter, rather than objective, measurable factors like the actual price tag, the location, or its long-term suitability for your family. Think about it. You walk into a house. The sun is hitting that kitchen island just perfectly, and suddenly you completely ignore the fact that the roof looks like it's caving in. When you lead with emotion, your financial logic just completely derails. The psychology behind this is actually fascinating. As the source material points out, emotional decisions are faster, more potent, and easier to remember than rational decisions. As human beings, we're practically wired to step into a property, fall completely head over heels for a gorgeous open-plan layout or a beautifully landscaped garden, and let our brains prioritize that potent, instantaneous excitement over the cold, hard facts. Rational thought takes real effort and time, but emotion, that's instant. So it's like a literal tug of war happening right inside your mind. On one side, you've got your emotional triggers, the intense, burning desire for a dream home, the profound fear of missing out, good old FOMO, and the sheer, blinding excitement of walking into a fresh listing. On the other side, the rational factors you really should be relying on: the actual price, the neighborhood logistics, and the future suitability. The major problem here is that those emotional landmines are constantly yanking you away from the safe, objective data points you actually need to make a sound, long-lasting investment. Which brings us to Section 2, viewing houses objectively: expectations versus reality. When you finally step through that front door, you absolutely have to beware of confirmation bias. This is a massive psychological trap. Confirmation bias basically tricks your brain into focusing only on information that supports what you already want to believe, while aggressively ignoring major flaws. For example, let's say you are absolutely obsessed with living on one specific street. It's your dream location. When a house finally pops up for sale there, your brain will stubbornly ignore the fact that the house is way too small for your family, simply because it supports your prevailing desire to live on that favorite street. You really only see what you want to see, and you filter out the reality. To combat this, you need to deploy some rapid-fire, rational viewing tactics. First up, take an unaccompanied look around if possible, without an expert real estate agent whispering a perfectly crafted sales pitch in your ear. Second, bring an objective friend with you. They aren't emotionally invested in your move. They aren't picturing their furniture in the living room, so they're going to easily spot the cracked tiles or the total lack of storage that you are subconsciously ignoring. And third, genuinely visualize your daily routine. Don't just stare at the shiny new countertops. Imagine your actual stressful Monday morning commute backing out of that specific driveway. You've got to strip the emotion right out of it. All right, moving on to Section 3, offers and inspections, surviving the process. Now we enter the most panic-inducing phase. And the first major danger here is the overpaying trap. When FOMO kicks in and you're terrified another buyer is going to snatch away your quote-unquote dream home, it's incredibly tempting to stretch your budget way beyond its logical limits just to beat them out. You tell yourself, oh, it's just a little bit more money. But overpaying puts you under immense long-term financial strain. Worse yet, if a mortgage lender's valuation comes back lower than your inflated offer, because remember, banks only care about cold, hard data, your dream instantly turns into a massive, stressful financial roadblock. Next is the absolutely disastrous mistake of ignoring red flags. Because you're so utterly desperate to just get the keys and keep the deal from falling apart after months of exhausting searching, you might be tempted to turn a blind eye to a survey that uncovers pest problems, severe damp, or hidden structural hazards. You start making excuses for the house. But ignoring these major red flags just to satisfy your emotional attachment, that's going to cost you thousands in hidden repairs down the line. It completely ruins the foundation of your investment.
So, what happens if you do get a bad structural report? First of all, don't panic. We can transform that anxiety into a calm, logical, 3-step procedure. Step 1. Get an objective cost and time frame to fix the issue from a trusted independent professional. Step 2. Use that hard data to ask the vendor to either repair it themselves or significantly reduce the asking price to cover your costs. And Step 3. If they refuse and the numbers simply don't make sense anymore, just walk away. Empower yourself to protect your investment. Cut your losses because I promise you, another property will always come along.
Let's wrap up with Section 4, your rational buying toolkit. Stay logical. The absolutely crucial point here is strictly utilizing this rational toolkit from start to finish. First, establish clear must-haves and deal breakers before you even start looking at listings and ruthlessly stick to them. Focus entirely on what you need, not what you feel in the moment. Second, seek professional real estate advice to guide you based on actual market realities, not just vibes or current trends. And third, take time to reflect. Remember what we learned earlier. Emotional decisions are fast decisions. Forcing yourself to wait, literally sleeping on it before making an offer, will help you avoid buyer's remorse, make incredibly sound financial decisions, and secure true long-term satisfaction with your purchase.
You've got the logical toolkit now. Whatever you do, don't let your feelings hijack your finances. Take a step back, use the data, and make your next move your smartest one yet. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I'm going to leave you with this one final provocative thought. Will your next house be an emotional trap or a rational investment?